everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Strike Noise, your weekly baseball history podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jeff. Joining me, as always, from the Pacific Northwest is my other co-host, Mark A. Johnston. Mark, welcome to the show. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, man, it's great to be here. It's something to do. We're on a 4-week lockdown. So, aside from shining all my pairs of shoes, I've got nothing better to do than to do. We should do a show every day.
Well, some of us have work. We got to do that.
What?
But, yeah, we could. It is the holiday season, though, so maybe we wanted to take a little bit of time to take a little time off. But
I was just getting overly excited, man. Sorry.
Well, let's. Why don't we instead, while we do have this time together, why don't we talk some baseball history? Sound like a good plan?
All right. Yeah, I got a little bit of that knowledge. Let's do it.
All right. Well, just a reminder, coming up today, we have got the second part of our conversation with former New York Yankee, 1962 World Series MVP Ralph Terry. Let me tell you, he has got some great stories he tells us. He is going to tell us a story about three of the biggest names in the history of baseball that he spoke to during a game. And it's a great story. And
it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, to say you had a conversation with these guys is something. So stick around for that. You'll hear that. We talked to Ralph about some of the biggest names he faced, like Ted Williams, Willie Mays, like really, Hank Aaron, these big names of the game and how he fared against them. And we will also hear from Ralph how he affected careers of some very well-known pitchers. He was not just a pitcher. He liked to pass on his knowledge, and also a little Nolan Ryan tidbit in there because they were teammates, believe it or not.
They were way back when.
Yeah. But if you missed last week, please go back and listen to last week too. He has got some just great stories from some huge games. And he really walks us through a lot of games that were very interesting. But before we get on to our second part with Ralph Terry, let us first go through some batting practice and get warmed up. Mark, I got some things for you to talk about today.
All right.
Let's first talk about what the world calls football, but we Americans like to call soccer, because that's what we do.
I've heard of it.
Did you see that Ken Griffey Jr. is now a partial owner of the Seattle Sounders Football Club?
Oh, he must have needed a tax write-off. Good for him. That's great.
Yeah, so he is now partners with Sierra. I love this story I read. It says Sierra and husband, Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson. I like that she comes first because I'm definitely not a Russell Wilson fan. But they are Sierra and Russell Wilson, though, also involved in that Portland MLB group, trying to bring a team to Portland, a Major League Baseball team to Portland. Also, co-owner of the Seattle Sounders is Macklemore, the singer.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So a bunch of, I guess Russell Wilson can't be called, he's not a local guy, but he plays for the local team. The others are more established in that community. But I remember Drew Carey used to be a part owner of the Sounders. I don't know if he's still.
Yeah.
He didn't mention him, but.
Yeah, I think he still is, actually. How many owners do they have? Like 75? Maybe I can get a chunk.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like baseball. You've got the majority owner, and then you've got a bunch of guys that have just a little slice of the pie. Let's talk a little baseball reference. So obviously we reference baseball reference quite a bit here. I mean, it is, I think any real baseball fan really goes on baseball reference several times a week. I go on several times a day because there's always something that comes up. I'm like, what was that guy's name? What did he do? Who was this? And then, of course, getting ready for the show. Well, we've talked about a great entry in baseball reference for Paul O'Neill. And, of course, he had that famous play in right field when he was playing for the Reds where he kicked the ball after bobbling it into the infield. And they've actually got on his baseball reference page, kicks, left foot. Well, did you...
Just in case you needed to know.
Just in case, that's yeah. Good. So another oddity here in Baseball Reference, Keith Hernandez's mustache has his own page, its own page.
Well, I think that's obvious then in Wax Pack's Heroes. Keith gets 2 points for that mustache each time.
Yeah, I think so. This page is hilarious, though. It says Keith Hernandez mustache. Nickname Little Mex as opposed to Big Mex. Width is 5 inches. Weight is 0.05 pounds for the weight. I don't know how they weighed that exactly. I think it weighs more than that. But this page, I don't remember. In Baseball Reference, you used to be able to sponsor player pages. Like I sponsored Ricky Henderson's page for a short while. I couldn't spend a whole lot of money to sponsor a page on the internet for that long, but I did it for a little bit. Well, Gillette Fusion sponsors the Keith Hernandez mustache page. Makes sense?
That makes sense.
Now they've got stats here. Like for only 4 years though, they've got stats from 86 through 89. And these are not Keith Hernandez's stats. So I'm not exactly sure how they came up with this or what's going on here, but there are batting stats for his mustache. There is also an all-time rank among baseball mustaches. Who do you think is the number 1 all-time baseball mustache?
Jeez, Raleigh Fingers, I would guess.
Very good. Raleigh Fingers, number 1. Number 2 is shooter, Rod Beck.
Oh, sure. Yeah, he had a monster.
Yeah, he had that Fu Manchu going a lot of the time. Number 3 is Wade Boggs. I think that's a little high. I mean, there was always a little bit of chicken in there. He never really cleaned that well.
Yeah. I mean, he has a nice mustache and all, but it doesn't compare to the top 2.
Yeah, no. And then number 4 was Keith. Number 5 was Oscar Gamble, who was probably more well-known for the hair on top of his head than above his lip.
Best head of hair in baseball.
And then number 6 was Mike Schmidt. So I think right here, I don't know why it stops at 6. Usually you have like a 10, top 10 list.
Top 6.
Top 6. I think right here what this tells us, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Any of these guys show up in Wax Packs Heroes, it's a 2-point advantage for that mustache. Right off the bat.
Absolutely.
So let's
if
remember.
Baseball Reference says so, then yeah, it's true.
All right. So Raleigh, Rod Beck, Wade Boggs, Keith Hernandez, Oscar Gamble, and Mike Schmidt, you automatically get 2 cents.
There you go.
All right. Next thing I had was most career hit by pitches. This was interesting to me. For me, when I hear hit by pitch, I just think Don Baylor. And so I automatically thought he was the all-time leader. But he is not actually number 4. No, he's number 4.
Oh, he's 4th.
Yeah.
Wow.
So do you have any idea who the number 1 guy is?
I think it's Craig Biggio.
He's number 2.
Oh, okay.
He came up too short. Like, Craig, just stick around for a couple more. Just come back.
Just lean into it, man.
Just come back for the next season and just take a couple.
Just lean into it.
Yeah.
There you go.
He was too short of Hugh Jennings.
Hugh Jennings?
Hugh Jennings.
Wow.
So Hugh Jennings retired in 1918, which is weird because he started in 1891, played straight through to 1903. Then he didn't play till 1907. Then he took a little break, played in 1909 and 1910. Then he took a year off, played in 1912. And then at the age of 49, he came back in 1918 to play in one game where he didn't get a plate appearance and was not hit by a pitch.
Oh, man.
So
that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. His nickname was E-Ya. Like, and I'm guessing that's like, E-Ya, that hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
that's weird. I have a cousin named E-Ya.
You know a lot of weird people.
I know.
From 1894 through 1898, these are his hit by pitch totals. 27, 32, 51, 46, 46. Now, I don't think they were really, I don't think Nolan Ryan was on the mound. I don't think Big Train was really headhunting at this point.
Sure.
So it probably didn't hurt that much, but that is a lot of hit by pitches.
Yeah, that's a large number.
But 287,
wow.
2 more than Craig Biggio ended up with, which I just thought those hit totals were hilarious. That you are, in a 3-year period, you're getting hit 150 times. He must have stood right on the plate.
Yeah, or else he made everybody angry. I don't know. It could have been both.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't think there was a different rule. Like, I think still if the ball hit you on the pitch, you're taking the base. But what this did lead me to is this led me to a rabbit hole. A big Craig Biggio fan that used to keep a blog. It's no longer being it is being updated, but it's no longer just about Craig Biggio, where he would update day by day stats about Craig Biggio getting hit. What kind of stats, you ask? It's hit by pitch. This is the kind of stuff he did. Throughout baseball history, the batter that was hit most, who had the Chinese zodiac sign of the dragon, that would be Brady Anderson, 154. Let's see. I am the rat. That is my sign in the Chinese zodiac. And Carlos Delgado is the leader there with 157.
This is a weird stat, man.
This is a real weird stat. Just through regular astrological signs, what are you?
I'm not really good at this. I think I'm an Aquarius.
An Aquarius. So Kurt Welch, who I am not familiar with, but he has 173. Yeah. I am a Libra. Fred Clark has 153 to lead the Libras. I mean, this guy does some research. I will throw this. I'll throw this link in the show notes. You can look through it. Now it's kind of a generic hit by pitch fan. He's like standing hit by pitches in this blog. But if that's your thing, that's your thing. So I don't know. Yeah. You know what that sounds like to me, frankly? It sounds like a future guest is what it probably sounds.
That's a good point. That's not a bad idea.
All right. And I did want to mention one other thing before we get into our trivia. Former guest Richie Schaefer, remember him mainly from Tampa Bay. Not Tampa, Tampa Bay. And we had him on, boy, it was quite a while ago, a couple of months ago. But he would mention that he loved to write and he was writing a book. That book came out last week. It is called The Eight of Earth. It is available on Amazon. I will, again, throw the link in the show notes. But that is available, and congratulations to Richie. I am going to totally get this book. I read a little snippet of it. It really sounds cool. It's a sci-fi book. All right, so Mark, let's get into trivia here. Had a good response to this trivia question. People, I think listeners like this. You know, who has the most hits playing on teams X, Y, and Z?
Sure.
So last week we mentioned that the state of Florida swept the Manager of the Year award. Don Mattingly for the Marlins, Kevin Cash of the Rays. So the question was, who has the most hits combined playing for both the Marlins and the Rays? And we got a couple of listeners. Well, we had quite a few listeners come in with answers. We had a couple come in with the right answers. We had one of our big fans, Chris, came in with the right answer. We had David as well, and I did not. Well, I'm going to make somebody upset that I've forgotten. I know we had 3 listeners, I should say, and
it wasn't me, man.
It was not you. So did you have any guess?
I really don't.
Can you name me a player that's played for both teams?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to think of. My mind is racing. Who's only played in Florida? And I'm drawing blanks, man, left and right.
So the answer is Jorge Cantu. Remember him?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He played for the Rays for 4 years, and he played for the Marlins for 3 years. He had 779 combined hits between those two teams.
Well, there you go.
Jorge Cantu. I didn't write it down. I thought I did, but I think Cliff Floyd came in second. And that was, we got a couple of people wrote in with Cliff Floyd. Floyd played for the Rays for only 1 year and Florida for 6. But that 1 year in Tampa wasn't enough, but he came in second. So there you go. All right, I got a question.
Very interesting.
Got a question for you for next week. Who's the most famous Yankee to wear number 3?
Is that the question?
That's not the question. That's the beginning of the question.
It's that would be Babe Ruth.
There you go. Okay.
I'm like, I got this one.
All right. Well, the Yankees retire a lot of numbers, as do a lot of teams. But we've discussed the Yankees are going to run out pretty soon. Who was the last Yankee to wear number 3? Because I'll tell you this,
that's
it
a good
wasn't Babe
question.
Ruth.
Yeah.
Because they were not retiring numbers at that point.
That's a good question. I think I'll take a week to think about it.
You do that. And by the way, everybody, if you want to go all the way back in our archive to show number one was only about jersey numbers. There's no clue there that's going to give you this answer, because I've never even heard of this guy. But, it was that was a great topic. That's why we did it for the very first show. But
yeah.
So there he is, the last Yankee to wear number 3. Let us know what you think, and we'll tell you the answer next week. But let us now jump right back into the second part of our conversation with former New York Yankee Ralph Terry. Some great conversation last week. We touched briefly on the 1960 World Series. And, of course, he gave up the walk-off home run to Bill Mazeroski. We didn't want to dwell on that. We wanted to talk about 62 when he was named World Series MVP against the San Francisco Giants in that great Game 7 performance. And he told us some really great stories. There are more coming, and let's just jump right into it. And please enjoy part 2 of our conversation with Ralph Terry. I've heard a story. I've heard you tell it. I saw a video of it, and I read it. And I'd love it if you could share with us the story when you were young. You hadn't made the major leagues yet, and there was an old timers game that you were allowed to sit on a bench with, and you talked to You introduced yourself to some individuals that I think probably everybody has heard of.
I was playing for Binghamton in the Eastern League, and then we had an off day, and the Yankees were playing Cincinnati in a benefit game, exhibition game in Cooperstown to raise money for the Hall of Fame. Annually they do that. 2 big league teams would play there, and we played Abner Doubleday Field, and we had an off day. It was about an hour's ride from Binghamton. I went over I'd been in spring training with the Yankees, and so I get down to the third base dugout, and Jim Turner, the pitching coach, said to the guard there, he said, "Let that kid in. He can sit on the bench. It's an exhibition game. It's not a regular league game." And he said, "Sit down there at the end of those 3 old timers, Ralph." And so I go down to the end, and there are two in the corner on my left and one on my right. I'm in the 2 on the left were talking hitting, and I knew there was somebody. I didn't know who. I'm just off the farm in Oklahoma. Anyway, the guy on my right, he had a cane, and he had a big, looked like a World Series ring or something on it. He was an old timer. Well, he didn't say anything. We're sitting there, and the second inning, I thought, I'm a baseball player, pro. How to say hello. And I turned. I said, "Hi, Ralph Terry's my name. I'm a pitcher, Binghamton, Class A." And he said, "Well, hi, Ralph. Cy Young's my name." He said, "Shake hands with Ty Cobb and Zach Wheat, who was an old inducted Wheat that year." And I shake hands with the greatest pitcher of all time, the greatest player, Ty Cobb and Cy Young and Zach Wheat. And they talked hitting the whole game. Cy and I, we took hunting and fishing and low pitching, and they called the game after 7 innings. It was a high-scoring game, and Doubleday Field, they had like 10,000 people there, a little park, and they had bleachers built in, the outfield built in, and it was like about 250 feet to the bleachers. But if a fly ball went in there, they got an automatic double. But anyway, it was, but when the game was over, Cy and Ty, they said, "Well, Ralph, have a good year, and it was nice to meet you." They couldn't have been nicer.
That is, I got to imagine that's going to be a highlight of your career, being able to just sit there, let alone talk to some guys like that are just. Yeah,
I was proud to shoot. In '62, and I won 23 games and saved a couple, and then the MVP in the series. And the Cy Young went to Drysdale that year. They only gave 1. But a few years later, the commissioner said, "Well, they're playing against entirely different leagues, so there has to be 1 in each league." And I was retroactively named the Cy Young winner of the American League years later. I was quite proud of that.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won 23 games that year. That's and one thing I do want our listeners to hear is that at 62, you actually tossed 298 and 2/3 innings. Something you would never see.
23 wins and saved 2 in relief, and led the league in starts, innings pitched. And, and that was quite a year.
Your arm somehow withstood that because in 63, you threw 18 complete games. I was talking to Jeff a little bit about how rare it is just to see one complete game. To throw 18 complete games in one season is just pretty impressive, sir.
Yeah. In 61, I was 16-3. I missed 6 weeks with a sore shoulder early in the year, and that's when they were really hitting good. I missed 6 weeks. I still had 16-3. Whitey was 25 or 25-4, I think. And I was 16-3, and Louis Arroyo was 15-5. We were 1-2-3 and 1 loss percentage with over 15 decisions. And we had, and Bill Stafford was second in earned run average. We had a pretty good, and Louis Arroyo was a great relief pitcher. And he should have been the pitcher of the year. He was 15-5, and he had I think he had 29 saves, but you had to face the winning or tying run. And a lot of times they'd bring him in the 7th inning, and he pitched 3 innings. And you get a save now. They bring him in. They got the setup guys, and they bring in the closer, and 1 inning. That's about it. But Louis had a screwball. He was a great relief pitcher. He saved 2 games for me that year because I followed Whitey in a lineup, and he saved about 15 for Whitey. But they'd give him a day's rest. They couldn't use him every day like they do nowadays.
Right.
So I guess that's the one reason I've had as many complete games.
Looking on Baseball Reference, they've got something called the Pivotal Play Finder, and it lists for everybody that's ever played the most important plays that they were involved with in their career. And I think you have the 2 highest play percentage in facing Bill Mazeroski in 60 and then Willie McCovey in 62. What, beyond those 2 and some of the things that we've talked about also, what would you say is your biggest, your most memorable moment playing the game?
Well, it did have to be the seventh game against the Giants. I mean, it was the best game I ever pitched. And I tell you, when the Yankees traded me in 65 to Cleveland, and they came into Cleveland, and I pitched against Whitey Ford and shut them out 3-0 on 70 pitches. It's the fewest pitches in modern day history for a 9-inning game.
Jeez.
So 70 pitches, that was the fewest pitches. It would have been 69, but the first baseman dropped a pop foul right outside of first. And the next pitch, he popped it up in the same place, and they caught it.
Wow.
Anyway, that was, I kind of remember that. And beating the Yankees too after they got rid of me, and
right.
So you had that great pitch game in 1965. You also hit your you had a home run in your career, and you hit it that year. Do you remember hitting that?
That was against the White Sox.
Yep.
It was.
It was Joe Horlin.
Yeah, Joe Horlin. Yeah, Joe was threw me a high slider, and I fouled it back, and he come back and threw the same pitch, a high slider, and I hit it, and halfway up the bleacher in left center. And they says someone says as long as home run they've seen a pitcher hit.
Wow.
I was around in second. I thought it'd be a double. I never dreamed it. Oh, and then I looked up and say the crowd yelled in left center catch it. the umpire, Hanachek, was on the base umpire. He looked at me and his finger and gave it the circle run, like home run. So I went, so I come in and I jumped in the dugout and everybody gave me the silent treatment, come on, let's go. Next guy, I was like, nothing happened. And then they started laughing,
That's great. We love the silent treatment. I didn't realize that it had been around, so long. That's great. Did you get that ball by any chance? Did they retrieve balls like that?
No, never got them.
Because Jeff so rudely brought up Rocky Colavito, I was going to ask or kind of point out a few guys that you had quite a good career against that are some pretty big names. Brooks Robinson only hit $169 off you. Minnie Minoso only hit 200. You got Maris and Mantle pretty well too. They were a total of 9 for 52 against you, and you were quite good against Harmon Killebrew, who only hit 208.
Yeah.
It's like you stood up and you were even better when you faced the better players.
Well, that's and I got Willie Mays 1 for 11 in the World Series.
Oh wow,
that was a good one. Good guy to get out.
Wow, no doubt. Wow.
Was Calavito the guy that you like to see least, or was there even somebody that was beyond Rocky that you just felt you could never get the better of?
Rocky was tough, and Boog Powell was tough. I thought so. We used to, pitch around. Well, Ted Williams was tough. Early on, the first year I faced him, he got 7 for 10 off by me, but that was 57, and then I started getting him out. Of course, he was.
You faced him in that first inning of your very first game. you can imagine how that goes. You're thrown into your first major league game, and here comes Ted Williams.
Yeah, I watched him on 4 pitches. They were all low outside, and then the next time he come up, I got a couple strikes and I threw him a curve. I had a pretty good curveball, and I threw it in there about knee high and whacked. He hit it. I knew it went over my head. I looked and it hit the concrete wall in center field in Fenway so hard it ricocheted back to Mantle, and in one motion he took it and held him to a single. It was 400-foot single. It was the longest single I ever saw hit in the only years I played ball. I mean, that ball was really hit. And I never saw it. A whack, I knew it went over my head. I mean, they just killed me if it hit me. But it was something. Then I just pitched. He only hit 1 home run off by me. I always pitched him low and outside. One time we're playing in Boston, and he got a lot of base hits, but no home runs. And one time we're playing them, and they got a man on Williams. Billy Martin's playing third. We're at Kansas City, and he comes running out the mound. He said, "You've been pitching this old guy outside all the time. He's 40 years old. Pitch him inside. You got a good fastball, So Herb Nolan is playing first, and he wasn't a first baseman. He was an outfielder, and he's holding the guy on. And I throw Williams inside. I'm thinking, and he hits a bullet right at Herb, top spin, and he put his glove down, and it embedded in the glove, and it tore the glove off his hand, And he picked the glove and the ball up and goes over and touches first. He's out in front of the mound. It's, don't pitch that big guy inside. I'm holding the man on. He'll kill somebody. I'm not a first baseman.
Great idea, Martin.
Good thinking.
So you finished up your career in New York, but with the Mets. And you had some teammates on those teams. I don't know how much you got to interact with them, but you had a rookie Nolan Ryan and then Tom Seaver. Did you get to impart any wisdom on them in their young careers?
No, I didn't. They didn't want anybody talking to Nolan Ryan or Tom Seaver. because, I mean, they threw it 100 mile an hour and they could throw it through a brick wall. I mean, they didn't want anybody messing with them. But I'll tell you who I did help was Jerry Kuzman. He was a young left-hander, and nobody heard of him. He was young. He was 24, I think, and he come up. And I remember they asked me in spring training to name somebody that makes the ball club I hadn't heard of, a sports writer. I said, who's Jerry Kuzman? You know, this guy you never heard of and done anything, but his ball really moves. You know, he's really got a tail on his fastball. This guy's going to be a good one. And I helped him quite a bit. But he claims I'm the guy that taught him how to pitch. You know. Anyway, Kuzman and Seaver were a pretty good combination. And the other pitcher I helped was Tug McGraw. I taught him how to throw the screwball. You know, one day we were playing golf, and he said, I trouble the big right-hander. He said, I got a big curveball and a pretty good overhand fastball. It wasn't overpowering. He called it Peggy Lee. Is that all there is? You know, she had this song. And he said, I throw the big curveball as a big downer, and it'd come over the plate to be a strike. It's up, I'd say, it's too high, you know, but well, if it come over knee high, the catcher catches around the ankle, it's too low. He didn't get many strikes called on it because it's a big breaker, you know. And he said, now I'll get behind on a count, you know, ball three. Now I got to come in there, and now pretty soon one of those big right-handers catches hold of one, and I'm beat. And he, what do you think? I said, well, you need another pitch. I said, let's go out to the ballpark. This was in spring training. And I said, we'll go out early in the morning for everybody, get a catcher, and I'll show you how to throw this pitch, a screwball, and that doesn't put any strain on your elbow. So we get Jerry Grody to go out and show him. And I tell you, he literally learned that pitch in 15 minutes. And he had it. Wow. I showed him a special grip on it and how to throw it. And his overhand, when you throw a ball overhand, you look for the ball, a fastball to rise or level off, and your curveball to go down. But and your side armor, the ball, you know, sweep or tail in or out. But when you can make it go sideways from overhand delivery, you got deception. You're something different. So I said, that's it. That's the action you're looking for. Use it. That'll get them out. He started using it, and he's getting them out, and they're really the pitching coach, Sheriff. He says, "What's that pitch?" And he said, "Oh, that's a screwball Ralph showed me." You know, I thought, "Oh Christ, you know, I'm an older pitcher. He'll think I'm a rival." You know, well, Sheriff, well, he was the ex-catcher. You know, anyway, and he said, "Don't use that. That'll hurt your arm." And Tug was 24, 25. He'd been around a little bit, you know, and he'd beaten Sandy Koufax for the Dodgers. I think the only time they ever beat him, the Mets expansion team. Anyway, they kept him around. But anyway, he couldn't use it. They sent him down to Richmond in AAA under orders not to throw the screwball. And he lost about 5 games, and they were about to release him from baseball. So he made a decision to use a screwball. He wins 5 in a row. They got him right back up to the Mets. The Mets were a lousy last place team, you know. He come in, we're playing Houston. We're leading 4-3 in the 7th inning. They got the bases loaded, nobody out, and they bring him in and from the bullpen. And first hitter up was 5th place hitter. I think he drove in about 9 runs a year. And anyway, throws him a couple pitches and throws a screwball and takes a big swing and hits it right off the end of the bat. And it plugs right in front of home plate, spinning like a top, embedded. And Jerry Grody picks it up, steps back on home, and then throws the first double play. The next guy up, screwball swinging a miss. And the guy leans over, throwing a screwball, you know. He throws one inside, fastball, he jumps out of the way, strike 3. Then he comes in, slapping his leg. Let's go, let's get a rally going. And sits down by me, and here comes Sheriff. Is that pitch? Yep, I thought I told you not to use that. Sheriff wasn't looking at one of the best jobs ever, you know. He wasn't watching the same game. So I thought I told you to shove that, you know. And he said, Sheriff, I tried it your way, and I was about to get released from baseball. I decided I'd at least give it a try. And he said, Sheriff said, well, all right, kids, you'll see. Well, a month later, they got rid of Sheriff as a pitching coach, and Doug Morrell had a great career.
This screwball really is a lost art, isn't it?
Yeah. When you can throw it, you know, the great old Yankee pitcher showed me how to throw it one time. The way you grip it, you twist it in your fingers and you flip it, and it comes out screwball. You can make it tail that way, and you don't have to crank your arm and throw it reverse, cause any elbow trouble. My little secret, me and Tug.
That's a great story.
A lot of these stories are in my book, right down the middle. About a couple of years ago, and I tell a lot of stories like this are in it. You get a kick out of that.
Yeah, we will make mention of it where you can get it, and we will also put all the links in the show notes, and we'll put them out on Twitter and everything so we can get to them.
It's got a 5-star rating.
That leads me to a question about another book. You were teammates with Jim Bowden, and his book, Ball 4, is very famous. Did you have any thoughts on that book, especially when it came out? It really kind of ruffled a lot of feathers.
It was kind of one of the first books where they told dirt about, they kind of told stuff you don't talk about, And he said he was trying to give like a balanced viewpoint about a player or a person, the good, the bad, and the ugly, both sides about a player. And he got a little too revealing, and his author, he was kind of a very critical author. He took a lot of liberty with with Jim, and Jim made the wrong decision. Anyway, he really was kind of banned by the Yankees. They didn't like him back, the stuff he said about Mickey and some guys, and it was a lot of dirt that sold a lot of books, but but anyway, it hurt his reputation. He was a real good pitcher. He asked me one time, pitched pretty good in minor leagues, and he brought in spring training and a couple of times, and he'd never make the ball club. And one day he come out to me in right field, spring training, and said, "What do I have to do to become a big league pitcher?" And he wasn't that tall, and he tried throwing sidearm to guys, and he had a knuckleball, and he had all these different pitches. Thought that'd impress the pitchers, or the pitching coach, or the coaches. I told him, forget sidearm. If you were 6'5" or something, you'd intimidate a batter. So forget the sidearm. I said, you got a real good overhand curve, big breaking curve. I said, throw your knuckleball when you get ahead of the hitters. They don't swing at it when they got you behind on the count. So anyway, he went right to work, and they made the ball club. He was 7-7 that first year, and then Johnny Sain taught him a slurve, and he had a couple of great years, and then he hurt his arm, and it was never the same. But he was a great pitcher there for a couple of years, and pitched great in the World Series against St. Louis. But he made a big mistake there with the author and telling a little too much,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it can cause divorces and a lot of problems, images.
Yeah.
Mr. Terry, we really appreciate you coming on and talking with us. This was so great hearing you tell about the your World Series games, and these stories are absolutely outstanding. And we really appreciate you spending some time with us.
Yeah, well, I always like to say that Roger Maris should be in the Hall of Fame. If he's not in the Hall of Fame, he's a two-time most valuable player. Bo Cruz record held for 37 years, and played all those 5 pennant winners in a row. When we got him, we won 5 in a row. Mm-hmm. Great fielder, great right fielder, fast, good base runner. He could do it all. And somebody said, yeah, but he only hit 270 or something. I said, you realize, I said, it takes 3 singles to score a run unless you steal a base.
Exactly.
So anyway, yeah, it's a sad deal that he was left out of the Hall of Fame. He got in the feud with the writers, and he wouldn't give them any print interviews. He was ready on TV, but the writers are ones that they voted you out, in or out, and they left him out. Then they had an overlook committee, 3 American League, 3 National League players. Well, they deadlocked, it's like Democrats and Republicans. They'd one guy be a National Leaguer, they'd be 3-4 and 3 against. American League 3-4 and 3 against. They deadlocked. They never got anybody in. So they put in umpires and general managers and people like that. And Roger Maris is not in the Hall of Fame. A lot of people don't know that. They don't realize that. What? He's not in the Hall of Fame? What a great player. Well, look at the play he made in the World Series, cutting off Major, drive to right field, hitting the cutoff man.
Yep. That kept the Lou on third. That was a huge play. We will make sure to put links in the show notes to where anybody can buy your book, right down the middle.
Right down the middle. It was the first pitch. When I pitched in Fenway, I'm warming up and I'm bouncing the ball. I was nervous. I never felt that way in my life. And I couldn't look up the fans. They had the biggest crowd they'd had since the 48 playoff game. And I'm bouncing up there. I get in the game, and Billy Goodman's the first hitter, a good left-hand hitter. And Yogi puts down one finger for a fastball and holds it right in the middle of the plate. And I said, this guy's a good hitter. I should be throwing him a curve or something, And Yogi said, no, come on, give me it. And I threw it, and it just split the heart of the plate, right down the middle. And I was strike one. And then it was like the opening kickoff. I was rid of the jitters. I was okay. I was in the game. It was the weirdest feeling. And I was telling this story to John Woolley, the author who wrote the book. He said, that's it. We were looking for what we're going to call it. He said, that's it. That's the title, right down the middle.
That's great. I guess I've got one more question. You have a good Yogi story from anything? I know he was pretty serious when he was playing. Did he ever come out to the mound and ever try to lighten the mood out there on the mound or anything?
Oh, Yogi was a lot of fun. We were talking about a switch hitter one time. I said, yeah, switch hitter. He's got a pretty good bat. Yeah, Yogi said, yeah, he's amphibious.
It's one of Mark's favorite stories right there.
So, anyway, Yogi, one time, Casey used to take me out early. I'd get in a jam, have a lead, and nothing serious, and come out the mound. I said, I'll get this guy, I'm okay, Well, he'd take me right out. And Yogi one day said, would you like to stay in your game a little longer? I said, yeah. They said, well, when the old man comes out to the mound, he says, don't open a conversation. He'll take you out every time, because that old manager had pitchers talk him into leave him in there. He'd turn around and sit down. No sooner, boom, the guy hit one. He's got to go back out and take him out. It's embarrassing, So one day we're playing in Detroit, and I got a little jam. Nothing serious. I got a 3-run lead, and he comes out the mound, and I don't say nothing. And Yogi comes out there, and infielders come over and scratching around. Nobody said a word, And the umpire comes out. Well, what's it going to be, Casey? He said, how do you feel? Oh, I feel fine. He said, okay, curve this SOB, And he goes back and sit down. Yogi knew him real well.
A silent standoff out there. Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really had a great time talking with you. And we just really appreciate you coming on with us.
Okay, guys. Call me anytime.
All right. So we want to thank once again, Ralph Terry. Seriously thank, because that was we had such a great time getting to talk with him and just to listen to him. And to have somebody that sat and talked pitching with Cy freaking Young for an entire game on a bench is awesome.
Yeah, that when he said, "Oh yeah, Cy Young," and we just talked pitching, and oh yeah, Ty Cobb was there, and I'm just like, "Excuse me."
Yeah, and Zach
Ty Cobb was there.
Yes, I mean, to get to hear those two guys. I mean, just to to see either of, any of those three guys would have been like the highlight of my life, but he sat there and talked about it. So that was just incredible. So again,
Very cool.
You can get Ralph Terry's book right down the middle. You can find it in several places. Mainly Amazon's probably the easiest way. I will put that again. We got a lot of books in the show notes this week, but please look in the show notes if you want to order it. A lot of these stories are there, plus a lot of stories that we didn't even get around to. So it's a great book. He's a really great storyteller, and he's got a lot of great stuff in there. So
his memory too is unbelievable. He was rattling off what he pitched to different guys.
Yeah,
I'm like, that was 60 years ago.
So I started him off with the fastball low and away. Then I came in with the screwball. And, I remember that 2 years ago I had faced him and he'd gotten a hit, when I had thrown him a change up on the outside corner. And so I wanted to come in. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, if I have half that memory at his age, I'm going to be a happy man.
I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, and he was rattling off an entire game from the 60s. It's just great. Good stuff.
It was incredible.
That was a real highlight for us. So I hope everybody else enjoyed it as much as we did. But Mark, something else that people tend to enjoy is a segment here that we have that we like to call, and so we do, Wax Pack Heroes.
Just pull a wax pack hero. Don't stop singing stars. Wax hero. On the podcast tonight.
All right, Mark, we are changing it up this week. We're going to do something a little bit different.
Here.
Yeah, so
I heard a rumor.
I got a lot of new cards, a lot of new packs. Now, the thing is, though, with these packs is they're not all 1992 or older. Some of them are a little bit newer, which is good because we're starting to get a lot of the same players over and over again. But also some of these sets are not in Beckett. So I pulled a couple of packs today that are from 1992, but are not in Beckett. I've got 2 packs of 1992 Series 1 Leaf cards here. So
wow.
I thought what we would do is, since we don't have a price for them, is I thought we would just go by each player and we'd pull up their WAR for this season, for 1992.
Okay.
And we'll use that. The rest of the rules still apply. You get, if you're a Hall of Famer, you get an extra 5 points. If you are sporting a mustache, you get an extra point. If it is a Hall of Fame type mustache, you get an extra 2 points. If you are wearing real stirrups that we can see, you get an extra point. If you're wearing 2-in-1s, that's worth a -1 win in real life. So that's -1 WAR right there.
Not fans of the 2-in-1s.
No. If you are wearing glasses of any sort, that's going to win you 1 game at least a year over an average player right there.
Okay.
This is science, folks. I'm not just making this up.
No, I know, man. I saw you pouring over some science books.
I had the calculator going and there were like Bunsen burners and stuff going. I was really sciencing.
Did you have the bzzz thing? That's my favorite.
Yeah, the lightning between the two things. All that was going on to prove this. Also, if you are wearing a sweatband that has a caricature of yourself or a McDonald's logo or your jersey number. The McDonald's logo happened last week. It's a new thing. That's all going to get you an extra win as well. If you are wearing high tops with your pants pulled up, though, that's a -1. And if your pants are pulled up with high tops and you got 2-in-1s, that's a -2 because it really brings the team down and loses 2 games for you. So, Mark, you're running away with this thing right now. You are up 7-3.
Yeah, this might be your way to get back in it, though. This might just be your speciality.
It might be because we're relying on these guys being good players versus people wanting to pay X amount for their cards. So I've got 2 packs here, and this is good. These are not cello. They're silver. I forget what these are called, but you can't open these. There's no wax involved. So
we're going to have actual cards.
Yeah, we're not going to get
pieces of a set.
They're not going to go numerically like we've had happen before. But I'm going to let you choose left or right. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm not going to switch the packs. So left or right, which one would you like?
I would like the right.
All right. I'm going to have you go first. And let's just jump into this and see how this goes. I don't have any idea what these cards look like either. So I'm kind of interested. The backs look nice. I'm going to tell you that right now. All right. Your first card is going to score you some. And by the way, we are using Baseball Reference for for the WAR. We're not going to use Fangraphs. We're using BWAR if you want to play along with us. But your first card is going to score you some money just from a mustache and real stirrups. It's pitcher for the Twins, Rick Aguilera.
Rick Aguilera, good pitcher, solid.
He has got that good-looking beard, full beard and mustache. Not a two-center, but it's a good beard. He's got real stirrups on there as well. Let's just quickly go ahead. So we're looking at the 1992 season. So his WAR is 0.6. So that essentially equals like 6 cents. So,
okay,
you know, our end totals might be kind of similar. Right now we've got some things. So that's 6 cents, and then you're going to get an extra 2 for the stirrups and the beard. So that'll get you to 8 cents right off the bat. So that's not a bad way to start. But Rick Aguilera on 2 of those Minnesota Twins World Series teams.
That's right.
Okay, next. Now, we've had this guy before, and we've talked about that we like him. He's a middle infielder, really a second baseman. All I ever say about him, and you know who I'm talking about, is he wore his Phillies uniform really well.
Yes.
So
yes, he looked good in it.
That would be Juan Samuel.
And the Jerry curl and everything, it was all together.
Yeah, he had it going on. So Juan Samuel in 1992, he had a WAR of, and this was not really the end of his career, but it was getting there. His WAR was -2, -0.2.
Great.
So,
oh, great.
And we are for batters. We are just going offensive WAR. I think Fangraphs just does WAR, but we're doing offensive WAR for batters and just WAR for pitchers. But you are going to get, well, actually, you're going to come out even because he's got real stirrups and he's got a mustache. So
okay,
that's good for you. Next, shortstop for the Pittsburgh Pirates, it is Jay Bell.
Jay Bell actually was a pretty slick shortstop, pretty good fielder, and I can't remember if he was a good hitter or not.
He did win a Gold Glove. He won a Gold Glove in 1993. Career,
yeah, he was good there.
Yeah, career batting average 265. His on base was 343. He hit double digits in home runs. He played for 18 years, hit double digits in home runs for about 9 of them. So not bad. Let's see. In 1992, Jay Bell's WAR, oh, you're going to like this, was 3.3.
Ooh, yeah.
So we're going to equate 3.3 to 33 cents. So
yes,
that'll bring you up to 41 cents. But I do have bad news for you. He is sporting 2-1s. But
loser.
Good news for you. He's got those awesome flip down sunglasses.
Just apply all the rules to this guy. Huh?
He's got just about everything. All right, so that'll bring you up to 41 cents. Next, future manager of the Chicago White Sox. Here he is playing for the White Sox. The guy that swears like a sailor, it's Ozzie Guillen.
Yes, Ozzie Guillen, again, slick fielding, shortstop. He had a decent bat, too. Ozzie was, people know him as that crazy manager now, but he was a fantastic ball player.
Yeah, I remember him. He was definitely more defense oriented. He was the Rookie of the Year in 1985. I didn't know that. Okay. But let's take a look at 1992, where he had a -0.1 WAR. But he's got a mustache, so you're gonna stay in there. Rookie of the Year, also Manager of the Year. One of the few guys that did that. Frank Robinson, one of the guys that did that as well. Frank Robinson, then also MVP though. Next, pitcher for the Mariners. I know you'll have memories of this guy, Rich DeLucia.
Rich, I don't want to say anything too harsh, but it just seemed like every time that dude came in, 2 runs would score. I mean, we used to call him 2-run DeLucia. But it's probably not as bad as I remember. I just remember being angry at times where he came in and did not pitch well. So maybe I'm just biased.
Now, if we're going by straight up ERA, which, we know definitely has its weaknesses now. His first 4 years that he played in Seattle were not good. Then he went on to Cincinnati. Well, he went on to a whole bunch of other teams and wasn't that bad.
Yeah, once he left Seattle.
Yeah, but in 1992, he was on Seattle. So we've got to go by that. And he had a -0.4 WAR there. Yeah. So that's going to minus.
That doesn't shock me.
Yeah, so you're going to lose 4 cents there. He does. You're going to lose more than that. You're going to lose 5 because he's wearing 2-1s. But
no, Rich DeLucia is still angering me.
He's got a mustache though, So
Okay, I will withhold my pure anger and hatred.
all right, so
Because he
that
has a mustache.
takes you down to 37 cents. Next, we've got left-handed pitcher for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Steve Wilson.
No clue.
I remember him just through fantasy baseball.
Oh, sure.
That's about it. Had a 6-year career. Not much to mention there. In 1992, though, his WAR was -1, and you're not going to get anything else. So there's a lot more movement using the scoring system. I'm not hating it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But all right, next, this guy was on my list in terms of names that I could string together of players. But you're going to get some various points for this. It is here with the St. Louis Cardinals, Felix Jose.
An old buddy of mine. Yep. When he was in Tacoma, he must have signed 150 cards for me over the course of the year.
Do you have any of those left? I would love to have a Felix Jose autograph.
I probably do. Yeah. I just got to find it.
All right. Well,
I had a whole folder binder full of just Felix Jose autographs.
well, you're going to like Felix here. In 1992 for the Cardinals, he had a 2.6 WAR.
Yeah. Wow. Go Felix.
Now, what I hate to tell you here, though, is he has got some high tops on, and he's got some 2-and-1s on, which is
terrible.
It's a cursed look. So that's going to bring that down to 2.4 or 24, as we say, as we like to say here. So that'll bring you to 50 cents. But that's a good card for you there, which would probably not be worth anything if we were doing the Beckett scoring. So interesting.
Probably not.
Okay, next we've got shortstop for the Kansas City Royals, Dave Howard.
Dave Howard, not Buddy Biancalana?
Not Buddy Biancalana, but Dave Howard. There's only one Dave Howard in Baseball Reference, and he retired in 1915.
That's interesting.
So I don't have any stats for Dave Howard. He did play the year before. He played 94 games for the Royals. So I don't have anything I can give you on this one from Baseball Reference. I'm going to give you 1 WAR or a 0.1 WAR because he's wearing real stirrups.
Okay.
But
fair enough.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're missing out there. Next, we've got pitcher for the Padres, Greg Harris.
Greg Harris. Yeah. Was he a starter?
Let's see here. Greg Harris was indeed a starter. You are correct.
Yeah. I kind of have a memory of him being a pretty decent pitcher, starting pitcher.
Well, 1992, he was a little bit below average, a minus 0.5 WAR.
Thanks.
And nothing that's gonna help you out there. So that'll bump you back down to 46 cents. Next, this one I think might help you out a good deal here. First baseman for the Oakland Athletics, it is Mark McGwire.
Yeah, I heard of that guy.
Yeah, you've heard of him?
If I remember correctly, he's got a pretty good WAR.
Well, let's see. I'm trying to remember in 1992 what he did. Was he hurt this year? Nope, he was not hurt this year. Let's see, 1992, Mark McGwire had a 6.0 WAR.
Wow.
So that's a 60-cent card right there.
Wow.
Which will bring you up to $1 or 1.06 WAR. But now you're lucky here because you don't see his feet because he always wore 2-and-1 stirrups.
Oh, I think it's odd that you knew that. But
he and Canseco always wore those.
Nah.
All right.
That's too bad.
Next, we have got, this is a good-looking card. It's Harold Reynolds for the Seattle Mariners.
Love Harold Reynolds, man. And now he's with MLB Network, I believe.
He is. Now, this is a very interesting card because looks like he's just stolen second base. His helmet is flying off. He's grabbing it. He's wearing his hat underneath it, which is a good look. And it looks like the second baseman for the Yankees might have hurt himself trying to cover the bag.
Oops.
Yeah. But let's see. In 1992, Harold Reynolds had a WAR of 1.2. So that's
okay.
good.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Now, Harold Reynolds also has a mustache as usual. Harold Reynolds also has a sweatband with his number on it.
Sweet.
So that's an extra 2 cents. So we keep saying cents. That we're not really working in cents anymore. Extra 0.2, whatever. You're at 120 now. 1.2. We've really got to get these numbers sorted out. Okay, now this has happened. Now we mentioned that these packs could not have been opened before, but what I hate to tell you is the next 3 cards are 3 cards you've already had in this pack.
What?
Your next card is Ozzie Guillen.
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head what he was valued at, so let's look again.
I think
here.
it was 17.0.
He had a minus 0.1, but he's got the mustache, so you
close.
Even out on that one. Next is your buddy Rich DeLucia, who I don't think helped you out a whole lot. He had a minus 0.4, but he had a mustache, but then he had okay, so that's just a minus 4 because he had the 2 and 1s too. So that bumps you down to 1.16. And then, of course, you had Steve Wilson again, who I don't think helped you out either.
Not either time.
Steve Wilson had a minus 0.1. So you're back down to 1.15 with 1 card left to go. And it is somebody, I believe we mentioned him before. Who was it? It was... it might have been Don August, or it might have been, no, I think it might have been our very first actual player guest, Sean Lowe. I think he got called up because this guy got hurt, Todd Stottlemyre.
Oh, yeah. The Stottlemyres all have pretty decent throwing arms, I think.
Yes, and they're all pretty good coaches, too.
Yeah, that's a definite baseball family with a lot of talent.
Yeah, so in 1992, however, a WAR of 0.1, but he is wearing 2 and 1s, so that equals 0.0. But so looking at this in terms of our old scoring system, you scored $1.15, which is an outstanding score. So,
yeah, that's my WAR for this year.
Yeah, 1 point. Your hosting WAR is 1.15 greater than just anybody I went and pulled off the street.
That's right. Exactly.
All right,
proud.
So let's see what I got. Again, the cards are really nice. There's good full pictures on the back, easy to read. I'm a fan of this set. I'm not gonna lie. All right, well, I'm starting off very strong because I'm starting off with the Hall of Famer. I'm starting off with a Hall of Famer that if he had not hit a home run with a bat that had a lot of pine tar on it, might have been known for something that happened behind him in his pants at one point. It is
the hemorrhoid guy.
Hall of Famer George Brett.
I know he was famous for some pretty nasty hemorrhoids, and I never had those. All I did was play asteroids, and it was nothing like it, I don't think.
You'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
So, nothing going on with the picture from George Brett. This was his second to last season. Still had a WAR of 0.7. So that's
not bad.
Yeah, that's 7 cents for me. He is a Hall of Famer as well. So that's a 13. And we're just going to stick with cent card. So there we go. Pitcher for the Giants, John Burkett.
Yeah, not sure.
He actually had a long career, 15 years in the major leagues.
Wow.
And 1993 led the league in wins with 22.
Wow, I should know this.
Yeah, and that's 1993. I'm sorry, I might have said 92. In 92, he came up with a WAR of 2.6.
Wow.
So I will take that all day. That brings me up to 39 cents after 2 cards. I'm down with that.
Wow.
Next, might have another big one here. Pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, Tom Hankey.
Oh, there you go. He could have a good WAR for sure.
Yeah, we've talked about him quite a bit.
Solid closer. Yeah.
All right, so Tom Hankey in 1992. Let's take a look at his stats. He had 34 saves. And in 92, he had a WAR of 1.2. And that's all I'm going to get.
Not bad.
But
that's
yeah,
not bad.
Yeah, I'll take that. That brings me up to 51 cents. Next, we've got a horizontal card of Mike Devereaux, who we're going to call Devo, because if you have a DEV in your last name, you're going to get the nickname Devo. Mike Devereaux. Here with
Dodgers?
Here he is with the Orioles.
He came up with the Dodgers, I believe.
You are correct. He came up with the Dodgers, then he spent 7 years with Baltimore, and then he kicked around with the White Sox, Braves, Rangers, and then ended with the Dodgers as well. In 1992, he had a very good year, though. He ended up 7th in the MVP voting and had a 3.8 WAR.
Wow, good for him, and that's also good for you, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that'll bring me up to 89 cents.
3.8, geez.
Yeah, that's a heck of a season. Take that all day. Next, pitcher for the Chicago White Sox, Alex Hernandez.
Oh, I remember him. He was a big prospect.
Yeah, he was.
And
I think he pitched for a while.
Yeah, I collected his cards, and when he came through with one of the teams in the PCL, and I had him sign like a dozen cards, and then I couldn't figure out where I put them. So they're somewhere in my parents' house.
Well, he didn't have a great season in 92, but it was good enough for a .4 WAR, and he is wearing real stirrups, so that'll give me 5 cents, bring me up to 94 cents. Next, we've got, oh boy, he looks so weird in a Pirates uniform. Here he is, third baseman Steve Buechele.
Steve Buechele in a Pirates uniform. I don't remember that.
I vaguely remember it, but I always think,
Ranger,
yeah, Steve Buechele is a Ranger. He was on the Rangers for 8 years. Let's see, in 1992, he ended up with a WAR of .7, so I'll take that. Nothing else going on this card that's going to get me anything, but that'll get me 7 cents. It brings me up to $1.01. So I am closing in with about half of my pack left.
Whoa.
Next, we got a pitcher. I love it when it's a California Angels logo. It is reliever Mark Eichhorn.
I remember Mark Eichhorn. Was he with the Blue Jays at one point?
I believe he was. He pitched for like 11 years. I lied. He came up with Toronto and then spent a couple of years with California, then went back to Toronto, and then had a year in Baltimore before finishing up again with California. So 1992, his WAR was 1.3. I'll take that.
What? Oh, jeez.
So that brings me up to 114. I can feel my first win in a long time. He was on 2 World Series winning teams as well.
Wow.
Which is
I can sense you creeping up behind me.
Well, let's see.
You're giving me the chills.
Yeah, I'm at 114. You had 115 for your total, so I feel confident here. We've discussed this guy during BP and his odd baseball reference page referencing a foot. Here it is, outfielder, right fielder for the Reds, Paul O'Neill.
Paul O'Neill, who never took a truly called strike in his career. No. If he took a pitch and it was called a strike, he argued it.
He did that, and I just called up his page, and here it says kicks left. So Paul O'Neill generally had some good WARs. 1992, a little bit off, only 0.9, and nothing on this card that's going to get me any extra value. But Paul O'Neill on 5 World Series winning teams, the Warrior.
Wow,
he's got a ring amazing. For each finger.
Yeah, that's impressive. He's a great ball player. He just had a temper. Didn't always agree with the umpires.
Yeah, he had a temper. Next, catcher for the Chicago White Sox, Ron Karkovice.
Ron Karkovice, one of the best throwing arms I've ever seen from a catcher.
He is just a catcher. I mean, he looks like a catcher.
Yeah.
His nickname is Officer, and I'm guessing that's a West Side Story reference.
Okay.
Because there's Officer
You're more
Krupke.
Into the show tunes than me.
There's Officer Krupke, and this is Karkovice. So they're similar.
I see.
Nothing of value on this card, but he had a 1.7 WAR.
Wow.
Yeah. So that'll bring me up to $1.40. I mean, this is a good pack here for me. Next, we've got starter for I got a good pitching staff here for the Blue Jays. Left-handed starter for the Blue Jays, Jimmy Key.
Jimmy Key, absolute legend. The guy was good every year, and he kept coming back, and he kept coming back. He was just a solid. I remember facing him in Stratomatic every year, like a dozen times, because he was always good.
So he won 2 World Series, one with the Blue Jays and one with the Yankees in 1996. 1992, oh boy, a 3.9 WAR.
What? Oh,
yeah,
man.
1992, and he went 13-13 that year. But,
what? That's weird.
Yeah, that is. But I mean, like ERA, wins do not equate to a whole lot these days. But that's essentially a 39-cent card, which brings me up to 1.79. Next, I've got some good names here too, because I've got Paul Ossenmacher.
Oh, we had a name for him too, but we're a family-friendly show. So
I'm going to guess it has something to do with the first 3 letters of his last name.
We called him Kiss My.
So 1992, not a great year, a minus 0.1 for Paul Ossenmacher, but he's got a mustache, so that wipes that out and will keep me where I'm at. Next, I got 4 cards left. 2 of them are catchers. The first one is catcher for the Royals, Brett Maine.
Yeah, I remember Brett Maine.
I'm sorry, Brent Maine.
Brent Maine played for a little while.
For the A's at one point.
He stuck around.
Yeah, boy, let's see. He played for a lot of teams. And in 1992 was his 3rd year. He was with the Royals that year. His WAR was a minus 0.6.
Ooh, bummer for you.
Yeah, I'm not too worried at this point, but that'll bring me down to 173. Next, I've got my second Hall of Famer. And this is going to be a big score here. Oh, it's going to be a real big score. It's Mr. Padre.
Oh boy, Tony Gwynn.
I'm going to tell you why this is going to be a big score here in a minute. Before we even get to his WAR, in 1992, let's just take a quick look at his stats. He was an All-Star that year. Only hit .317.
Oh, geez, that's poor for him.
Yeah, it was definitely a down year. His WAR for the year was 2.3. That's great.
Not bad though.
Okay, he has got some real stirrups here. He's got sunglasses. He has got caricatures of himself on his sweatbands, and he's a Hall of Famer.
Jeez.
So
just rack him up, man. You rubbing it in? What the heck?
So Hall of Fame is 5 plus 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 9 cents plus 23. So that is a 32-cent card.
Wow. Good job.
Yeah. So that brings me up
I don't like these new rules.
That brings me up to 205. And I've run away with it. Our last 2 cards. First one, here he is as a catcher, which is what he came up as for the Brewers, B.J. Surhoff.
He did. He was one of them lefty catchers, left-handed hitting catchers anyway.
Yeah, so B.J. Surhoff came up. Let's see, he caught all the way until 1995. He came up in 87, and then in 95 was the last year listed as any time behind home plate. In 92, he had a 1.0 WAR. He's got a mustache, which is good. He's in his catching gear, so if I could see it, I know he would have real stirrups on, but I can't see it. So that'll just get me 11 cents there to bring me up to 216. And my final card is pitcher for the Cleveland team. It is Dave Otto.
Dave Otto. He played for Tacoma. Okay. And for whatever reason, the manager of the then Tacoma Tigers didn't put a DH in the lineup, so he had to hit. And he was not happy. I remember him being very angry about it. So he goes out, guess what he does? 4 for 4.
He was so mad that
no lie. He went 4 for 4. Everybody's like, are you kidding me?
He's your new DH. Dave Otto.
The manager looked like a genius.
Dave Otto did not have a good year in 1992. Minus 1.5 WAR.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah. But it does not matter. That brings my final total to $2.01 versus your $1.15. And that will I'll inch closer. I'm now only down 7-4. I don't know. I kind of like the scoring because the scores are a little bit higher. And everybody's going to have a score one way or the other for the most part. I don't know. Listeners, let us know. What do you think? I would prefer not to have to buy multiple old Beckett's in order to do newer cards. So this was kind of my thought as how we would do this. But let us know what you think if this is going to work or not, and we'll see how it goes from there.
There you go.
Let us start to wrap this show up. We'll start it off by saying thank you to all of our listeners. We really do appreciate it. We've gotten a lot of DMs on social media. I'm really excited to hear from listeners. And if you do want to get a hold of us or follow us, because we post quite a bit, especially on Twitter, you can follow us at 2Strike Noise. That is at TWO Strike Noise. That is both on Twitter and Instagram. Mark, we're also starting to post these podcasts without video on YouTube in case apparently people get their podcasts on YouTube as well. So there as well. And Mark, we also maintain an electronic email. If you want to tell them how to use that.
We do. We have electronic mail services, and it's not AOL. Can you believe that? You can reach us at 2Strike Noise, spell it out, TWO, Strike Noise at gmail.com.
I think I still have my Prodigy email address. That was my first one.
I had a Juno.
That's right, folks. We're old. Yeah. But once again, we want to extend our thanks very much to Ralph Terry. That was, it was really, I hate when people say honor, and it's just, it's kind of you're throwing it out there, but it really was an honor to talk with him. And he had such great time, and we really appreciated his time that he gave us. And we hope everybody enjoyed the last 2 episodes with him as well. We will be back once again. This is Thanksgiving week, so if you're here in the U.S., have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Hopefully it's a small gathering. Please take care of everybody and stay healthy, and we will see you next week on the next episode of Two Strike Noise.
Thank you. God bless you. Have a great day.